Greetings, ACTIVZ family, and welcome to the October Founder Zoom. We're great, and we're happy to have you all here. Hello, David. Great to see you as always.
Good to
For
see
all
you,
of you who are
Ryan.
new and new to ACTIVZ, David and I like to do this Zoom the 15th of every month, and I think for the most part, David, we've been pretty good at doing this every single month since we launched the company. Maybe we've changed it or missed it 1 or 2 months in the last almost 8 years now, but. We like to share a little bit about the highlights from the month prior and give you a sneak peek on what's coming down the road. So fasten your seatbelts and hold on to your wigs because we're going to go ahead and get started. David, how are you? I remember how we started last month. I started it by talking about how we were entering the fall and autumn months, and you talked about Utah. Well, now we are in fall here in the United States, middle of October. We've got Halloween coming. We've got Thanksgiving right around the corner, Christmas, New Year's. I feel like it's a slippery slope right into winter, but it's not winter yet. I know the trees are beautiful where you live. How are you doing? What's going on in Utah these days?
Doing great. It actually is a slippery slope in the tall parts of the mountains. We've got snow
Oh, wow.
up in the mountains, not down in the valley. It's still quite nice, and the leaves are indeed beautiful. This is absolutely my favorite time of the year. It is actually not my wife's favorite time of the year because she views it as nothing more than a precursor to winter, which she doesn't like so much these days. But I like it, and it really is fun. And September was really an eventful month in a lot of ways. I know you had some wonderful experiences that you'll talk about. I had some really interesting ones. As many of you know, we've been joined by a large number of Chinese, both Chinese Americans who are living here in the United States, as well as Chinese distributors and customers in mainland China, some of whom actually made the trip to Cabo and qualified for that in August. So it was fun to meet many of them. And I think we spoke about that a little bit on our last call. Well, I had the opportunity to go and represent ACTIVZ at a large event in New York City, which was the Asian American, Chinese American, or I'm sorry, Asian American Chamber of Commerce. And it was a big gala event attended by a lot of dignitaries and political figures. There were salutations from President Trump, from ambassadors, from really a wide variety of people. There were celebrities like Michelle Yeoh and others that were there, and it was very fun to be part of that. And ACTIVZ had a banner up. Some of our distributors, there was an opportunity for them to introduce products and sell products to individuals, and that was a lot of fun. And I found out that some of our Chinese active distributors are very well connected throughout the Chinese American community, and they're talking about ACTIVZ, and so that was kind of fun and interesting to be part of. On a similar note, just about a week ago now, we had a large Zoom meeting for our largest, our I guess, how would I say this, our most recent large English-speaking group that has joined the company. And you might think, well, where is that? Is it in California? Nope. Is it in Texas? Nope. Is it in New York? Nope. Well, I'll get right to the chase. Our new large group of English speakers is in the Philippines. And we just had a great Zoom call. They've now been, many of them have been part of the company for about 2 months, 3 months now. And we've had some great rank advancements. We've had some A10s, A11s, one A12, and a number of lower advancements as well. And they're excited. They are so excited to be part of the ACTIVZ family. And so that's all transpired in recent weeks, Ryan. And so there's a lot to be excited about here at ACTIVZ. How about you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been exciting to hear and to see these new teams grow. That conference you went to sounds incredible. I hadn't heard that so many notable people were in attendance there. But it's true that some of our leaders, our Chinese leaders, are very well connected and can't wait to see what they do in the future. They're really cranking right now. Well, I will also congratulate our new Filipino group. They're growing so fast and really I mean, in less than even 2 months, maybe a month and a half, or they've been really, really cranking. And I know we've got A10s, A9s. We have some really high ranks. Do we have anybody above an A10 in the Philippines right now?
Yes, one A12.
We've got an A12. That's
Mhm.
right. Wow, that's phenomenal. We'll do some recognition here coming soon, but really, we want to take our hats off to all of them. The highlight for me, David, was, and for everybody here listening, I had an opportunity to travel back to Mexico to do an opportunity meeting in a city in an area where it really has been a hotbed of growth for us over the last few years. I'd say since 2021, it kind of got on it put itself on the map and became probably the fastest growing area in Mexico, and it's the state of Tamaulipas, and the city is Tampico, and that city is adjacent to a lot of other smaller towns and cities that all kind of make up the majority of this team, which is now spread all the way into Texas and throughout the United States and other parts of Mexico. But we had I traveled there for what I thought was going to be a modest opportunity meeting, and modest is in air quotes. I expected a few, maybe a couple hundred people there. But guys, I wish you all could have been there. Every single person listening to this. Um, the day of the event was a Saturday. What was it? What day was it? It was a Friday, and it was in the evening. And Danny Pizarro, one of our A16s who lives there, he and I were driving in his truck to this event, and it was just in a downtown area in a large building. And I saw this line coming out of a building down the sidewalk and back into a parking garage area. It took up easily half the block. And so he and I drove into the parking garage area, and we were both keenly aware that that line was for our meeting. We parked and walked in. And I was thinking, oh, they haven't opened the doors yet. All these people are lined up, and there's a lot of people here in line. Well, we diplomatically made our way through the line, thanking people for letting us through, and eventually got to the top of the stairs through this line into the hall where this was taking place, the big meeting room, and it wasn't empty. They had already let everybody in, and it was packed. And there were probably 600 people in there, or 700 people. All in all, there were about 800 people there in attendance that day, and it had been promoted less than a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks, and the leaders just did an incredible job uh, uh, spreading the word and inviting people. You might be asking yourself, was it 800 distributors? No, it was just about half of the distributors there were people were distributors, about 400. But it goes to show what you can do if everybody invites just one person, right? If you've got 400 people, distributors that show up and they just bring one friend, well, now you're going to double in size. And so I don't know that everybody had one friend. I think a lot of people invited four or five or six, and a lot of distributors maybe just went to attend themselves. But we were really just I was worried that the fire marshal was gonna shut us down, and I kept mentioning things to Danny Pizarro and his brother Omar and David and others, and the team there that was hosting it. And they had more confidence than me. They didn't think we were going to get shut down. And we weren't shut down, thankfully. And it was an incredible meeting. And it turned into a training afterwards. We invited the people who were interested in staying around afterwards and listening to how they could get started to stay. And when we did that, nobody left. Everybody just stayed there. And I know that when I came home the next day, later that evening, it was a Saturday night. When I got home, I got word that we had about 100 people so far had enrolled, new enrollments just from that area, from that city. So that was definitely the highlight of my month. It was sort of a precursor for what we have waiting for us next month, our 8th anniversary in Mexico City. So we made sure to tell everybody that this is not the big event. The big event is our 8th anniversary in Mexico City, and to make sure that they were making plans to be there. They don't want to miss it. We've got members of Pathways Bioscience is going to be with us, Dr. Brooks Hybertson. We have another VIP trainer that's going to be with us, sort of a network marketing icon is going to do a training for us at that event. We also have a huge launch, a really, really big launch of more than just a product or product line, but it actually represents a new sales system for us. And David, you know this, but the way we've been characterizing it is it almost represents a new tip of the spear. You know, we are the epigenetic company. All of you should know that. Like that is the stake that we have planted in the sand. We have the best formulators, and by best formulators, I mean the doctors and research scientists with the most reputable credentials who are not only backing us, but they've formulated some of our key products. And that's, I mean, it is what it is. The science speak, the products and the science speak for itself, and that's always been foundational to our company. So we're going to be talking about and rolling out this new system, as it were, in November, and we're really excited about it. So that's one of the messages that I shared from the stage there in Tampico. But I do want to maybe share this with all of you. Again, wishing that you all could have been there. David, I showed you some pictures, and I wish I had a picture of it here to show. Maybe I'll share them on my Facebook page, and you guys can check them out, or I'll share them to the ACTIVZ Facebook page. But Danny and Nay, his wife Nay, they have purchased a house right on the beach in a real secluded area, right? It's not a town, not a city. It's very secluded. You actually have to drive on a bumpy, dirt, muddy road to get to their house, and it's sort of through an area that's overgrown, and it got a lot of jungle there, and beautiful, beautiful area. But I was going, where are we going? You know, we're driving through deep mud here, and I'm looking at the tires of his, you know, brand new GMC pickup truck, and glad that we were in a brand new GMC pickup truck. But we drove by an old abandoned cement building, looked like cement blocks, stone building that was overgrown with vines and trees, and it was plain just dark gray, and it looked like something you'd see in a movie. And we stopped. He said that building was built 50 years ago by my dad. My dad with the and their parents, his father and mother, have since passed away. But his dad, he said, my dad 50 years ago had a vision to open up the first alternative medicine hospital where they would only bring in nutritional supplements, natural products to help people get better, right? And they actually institutionalize it as a hospital. And the father of Danny, Omar, and David did this along with a doctor who had a lot of notoriety at the time, and they opened it and they ran that hospital for you know, the better part of 2 decades. And then something happened, and the doctor ended up leaving. Danny's father passed away, and the city did not maintain the hospital, and they just let it go, and it's abandoned, and there it's overgrown. If you keep driving a quarter of a mile towards the beach, you get to a small little enclave of very beautiful houses, one of which is newly renovated, and it's the beachfront property of Danny and Nay, one of our A16s. In fact, our latest A16 hit A16 2 years ago, and they've renovated it, and they have their own little piece of paradise right there on the beach in a 3-story home, and it's juxtaposed with this old hospital that his dad built 50 years ago, he passed away several years ago. But we talked about the irony, um, and um, and I don't know if irony is even the right word, but it really is sort of a universe thing, I guess, that Danny hit A16 and was able to buy this beachfront property because of alternative medicine, because of nutritional supplementation, really sort of fulfilling this vision and dream that his dad had had more than 50 years ago when he built this hospital. And sometimes life is interesting like that. You realize, wow, what a small, interesting world we live in, and how cool would it have been for his dad and his mom to know that one day their youngest son would be building a beachfront home, 3-story house, right on the beach, right next to this hospital, and would have been able to do that thanks to alternative healthcare, thanks to nutritional supplementation. And obviously, we're talking about epigenetics and our products. And so that was a really cool experience for me, David, to be able to see that and experience that. So that was the highlight of my September.
Yeah, I can see that. And it'll be interesting to see what happens from that wonderful meeting that had 400 guests.
Yeah.
And I know that people left there charged and excited and ready to go. That is such a cool story about the Pizarro brothers and their dad.
Yeah.
Um, as you were speaking about that, one thing that came to my mind was another kind of coincidence, if you will, a parallel track that was occurring 50 years ago was that was right as Dr. McCord was in his research and discovering superoxide dismutase. The
That's
very
right.
beginnings of free radical biology was occurring right then.
Right.
And now we're reaping the benefits of both the legacy of Danny's father in the form of his family and the impact that they're having and how they are now, you know, probably spreading the word about alternative health opportunities and things that you can do to activate your health in a way his father could scarcely have imagined. And that's pretty cool to think about. And that's really how it should be. Each generation should be able to do something a little
Yeah.
bit better than and build upon the previous one.
Right.
That's really cool. Um, it's interesting to think that also what's happened since then is we have doctors in Mexico, in the United States, now in China. I just got sent a picture of our products forming in a room in Dr. Wang's one of her 5 hospitals in China that she is going to be introducing all of the trifecta to and giving to her patients. And that's, this is a trained MD, and we have, all types of doctors who recognize the science, and that it's not just people, coming up with a story. That's the wonderful thing about our epigenetic products. I think that anyone with full confidence can introduce them to someone else with 2 things in mind, that every single person on this earth, frankly, will benefit from taking the trifecta and indeed all of our products. And
Right.
every single person on earth who takes it will be taking products that have been proven by sound scientific research by real scientists who have done the tests and have done the research and can prove that the benefits that we're talking about are real. And that's pretty exciting. And one of the things I mentioned on this recent Zoom call to the Philippines was that it's interesting how things happen. They had been let down by a previous company and were looking for something. Some people weren't even sure if they ever wanted to join a network marketing company again. And then they heard about ACTIVZ. They heard about genomics being 10 times more potent than any other Nerve2 activator out there. And it got them going. It renewed their faith, actually. They felt like, seriously, that the old adage that when one door opens or closes, another door opens, and ACTIVZ happened to be that door. And now 8 years later, the timing is perfect. If that had happened 8 years ago, we probably wouldn't have been ready to do this and work with them, Ryan. We would have said, thank you very much, but we're not sure we can do that. We're focused on Mexico. We're a small company with limited
Right.
resources. We just can't do it.
Yeah.
And so the timing was right for them. The timing was right for us. And isn't it interesting that that's kind of how the universe operates. That when
Yeah.
you're ready, and if you really want it, it's going to appear. And
Yeah.
uh, and I truly believe that. And I think that we have a lot of people of faith in ACTIVZ who not only are putting their faith in ACTIVZ, but recognize this as a vehicle to help them accomplish the things they want to do. And so when people come to see us in Mexico City next month, they'll, like you said briefly, that Dr. Hybertson's going to be there. I think it's fair to tell everyone that Dr. Hybertson kind of, I don't know, we're kind of speaking in a religious vein, called us to repentance a little bit. He said, "Hey, I want to be used more by you guys. You should let me come and speak more. I want to help ACTIVZ grow more." And we'd kind of been a little cautious, not wanting to infringe or kind of assume too much in terms of his role. But I can tell everyone that he monitors ACTIVZ. He's very interested. He wants to hear the stories. He wants to see how Nerf2 and the world's most potent Nerf2 activator is changing lives. And so he basically volunteered and said, "Use me more." And we're like, "Wow, great. We'd love to have you." And so I can look forward to hearing, and those who can't be in attendance, I'm sure we'll be able to to see some excerpts of what he presents down in Mexico City as well. So it's an exciting time. There's never been a better time to be part of ACTIVZ. Never been a better time to go out and share it with others. And everyone can go with confidence that what they're talking about is real and needed in the world at this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's going to be an incredible event and great to have Dr. Hybertson down there, who was at our first ever event in Mexico City when we launched the company.
Yeah.
So it will be great to have him at our 8th year anniversary. Several years where we have not been able to have him. So it's great that he will be available to travel down there here in just a really handful of weeks now. I'm going to close with this. I've been, David, as you know, I've been having personal interviews, one-on-ones with members of our field advisory board, A11s and above. And we've been talking about their business plans, their goals, what is their daily plan of action, and the importance of sharing that with their team, and the importance of sharing that with other people who they're talking to about ACTIVZ, and how sharing your daily plan of action or your system, meaning what you do, is equally as important to attracting new business partners as it is in talking about the benefits of epigenetic science or our products or our compensation plan, right? But really, how do you do this business? If you're involved with ACTIVZ, not just for the products, not just for the benefits of the product, but you're doing this because you are building a side business or side income, or doing this on a full-time basis and living off of this. How do you attract people? And so I've been talking to a lot of them about the importance of really evangelizing their daily plan of action, right? And making sure that everybody knows what it is. And along with that topic, this other topic keeps coming up. And I want to just share it with everybody in the company. And it's the topic of focus, and what do we do to make sure we're focused and to make sure that we are not distracted. And I think I'm kind of skipping something I should have said, which is the number one challenge that people face in building their ACTIVZ businesses, or I should say any business in the network marketing industry, or probably any business in general, is distractions, right? It's not the competition. It's not a competing product or a competing opportunity as much as it is distractions, right? It can be a nightly sitcom that you just can't stop watching, right? Or a habit where you just can't get out of bed until 11 o'clock every day, or something like that that just distracts you. I think that the common denominator among everybody who ends up failing and throwing the towel in or just quitting isn't that something bad happened to them, or their product stopped working, or the company went out of business, or anything like that. It was just that they were not able to stay focused. They let distractions get the best of them. And so this is a topic that I have been having with every single one of our top leaders, and they all agree. And we talk about what things to watch out for, and what things to let me see if I can share my screen, and then how to protect yourself against it, how to inoculate yourself essentially from this. So if you can see this image that I'm sharing, I love this image, not because I love her hairdo or her brown eyes or the tattoo on her arm, but what she's doing is it's sort of a symbol of focus. You have to focus, right? Focus on what? Not just on what you do every day, but focus on the end goal. Danny and Nay, who built this or refurbished the three-story home on the beach in Tampico, Tamaulipas, in this private little enclave, were only able to do that because of one reason: focus. Yes, work ethic. They took all out massive action, but really focus. They didn't ever get distracted. And were there things to be distracted with? There were lots of things to be distracted by. The naysayers, the people who just rob us of our time, and who in Spanish we call them preguntones, which means they just ask you questions, right? And before you know it, you spent 2.5 hours on the phone with somebody who isn't even really committed to doing anything. They just have a lot of questions, or they say, well, I'm going to try it first, and I'm going to make sure it works first. And based on that, then I'll have some questions for you. So the key that, their key to success and the key to the success of any good leader is the ability to focus. I'm going to see if I can advance my slides here. I don't know. Did my slide just advance, David? Are you looking at
Yes.
course? Okay. So this is something that we don't have as human beings. We don't have blinders that we can physically put on our heads and force us to focus like racehorses do. Um, but this is again another important symbol for us to look at, because we have to have a proverbial blinder. We have to have proverbial blinders if we're going to focus. And I don't know what that is for you. I know what they are for me. My proverbial blinders is always remembering what my why is, what my ultimate goal is. When I think deep and hard about why I started this, why you started this, why David and I started this together, right? And what I want to accomplish, it allows me to block everything else out. Anything that's not helpful or lends itself to growth, it's easier for me to block that out when I reconnect with what am I ultimately trying to accomplish here, right? So as distributors and as leaders, that ability is something that's a skill that you need to work on developing. Focus and focus on not getting distracted. Somebody very important and who I look up to a lot and respect a lot, and he was the head cardiovascular surgeon, or excuse me, cardiothoracic surgeon at the University of Utah and pioneer in cardiothoracic surgery. David, you know who I'm talking about. A certain
Mhm.
Russell M. Nelson is looked up to in the world of in the field of cardiovascular surgery and cardiothoracic surgery. And he talks about this, and he said when you're distracted by something or something bad happens, the first thing you need to do is focus. 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 The second thing is get over it. And the third point he shared to all of his underlings and people who he mentored is just do your best. But it starts with focusing. If the sky feels like it's falling and you are distracted by any number of things, you have to have the ability to focus on what you're pursuing. Once you do that, you will be then able to get over it. Get over it emotionally, right? But it's not the other way around. You don't get over something and then focus. What helps you get over things emotionally is by being able to focus on your goal and your task. And then the last step is the only thing that we can all ever do, which is just do our best. And I'm going to close with this. This is since I mentioned the word leader, and that distractions are the number one really adversity or stumbling block or challenge that we all face as we build our businesses. I like this quote a lot. It just says a distracted leader is a disconnected leader. And in leadership, distractions don't just slow you down, they steer you off course. Stay focused and lead with purpose and clarity. And so I'm just going to leave you with that. My invitation to everybody this month, as we close the month of October, is focus. Learn how to focus. Learn how to put on your proverbial blinders, right? Manage your emotions, focus on your goal. And when you do that, do your best, and you will be able to ultimately accomplish and achieve what Nay and Danny did, which is not only do they have a beachfront 3-story house, they took me to a few different properties that they are building right now and that they have, but they're really just they are realizing their dreams simply because they're able to. I think master might be an overstatement, but dominate this topic of focusing. They really focus well. And if you want what they've got, you just got to do what they've done. It's that simple. So, guys, have a successful and very blessed month of October. Hope to see a lot of you at our 8th anniversary. And David, I'll give you the last word.
Well, I think it's well said. It just reminded me of what Thomas Edison once said, that many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. And all of you are much, much closer to success than you realize. You all have the capabilities of Danny and Nay. You all have the capabilities of Martine. You all have the capabilities of Christina or any other leader in the company. It's just a matter of whether you stay, you keep moving and stay focused, as Ryan said. So I think that as we focus our efforts, it's amazing what an individual can do when their efforts are focused, but when a group's efforts are focused, it exponentially becomes even more powerful. And so as you do that, starting with yourself and then with your groups, you'll be amazed at the things that you'll accomplish. So good luck with the rest of the month. I think it's going to be a great one. And it's already off to a banging start. And I look forward to seeing you in Mexico City and down the road in other meetings and Zoom calls that we have in the future. So have a great month, everybody.
Thank you, David. David, I forgot to say something, and I'm just going to throw this out there. If any of you have any contacts in the city of Saltillo,
Yeah,
Coahuila, guess what? I am there right now, and I'll be doing an opportunity meeting. So send them to the meeting. You can look up and find the details on our ACTIVZ Facebook page, and look forward to seeing hopefully many of your contacts at my meeting tonight or tomorrow in Monclova. So thank you. Have a wonderful month. Take care, everybody.
thanks.